Well, some of you may remember a few years ago, before the COVID pandemic, Greg and I were not here on the first Sunday of Advent. We were on a cruise. And you may remember when we came back from the cruise, I told you about a young couple we met on the cruise. They were on the cruise celebrating their baby moon. Now, I had never heard the term baby moon before. It's not a honeymoon, it's a baby moon. And a baby moon is when a couple, expected parents, take a vacation together before the birth of their child so that they can enjoy some alone time, because they know once that baby is born, their lives are going to be turned upside down. And the young couple on their baby moon were telling us about all the preparations they had to make as they await the arrival of their baby. So they had to take Lamaze classes and read books and baby-proof their house. They needed to assemble the crib and put together the nursery. So much preparation. And as first-time parents, they were nervous. They had a little bit of trepidation and anxiety, but they certainly were waiting with great joy and anticipation and expectation of this new life that was on its way. And what really stayed with me since then is that a baby moon is a really perfect way to explain the season of Advent. Because that's what we're doing in Advent. We're making preparations. These 4 weeks, that's what we're supposed to be doing each day. We're supposed to be making preparations with great anticipation and expectation of the new life that's on its way. But what exactly does that mean, the new life that's on its way? The baby Jesus is going to come? I mean, that already happened 2,000 years ago. So what are we preparing ourselves for? Well, I shared a quote on Facebook this week from Father Richard Rohr, our friend and the best-selling progressive Christian author. He says, Advent is not a time of sentimental waiting for the baby Jesus. He said, Advent is a time for putting our focus and attention on the coming of the cosmic Christ. Advent is not preparing for the baby Jesus. It's not about the baby, he said. It's about the cosmic Christ. That's why our focus is on the star, the cosmos. Now, if you were here last Sunday, you know that was our scripture reading from the Bible. It said, Christ is the firstborn of all of creation. 15 billion years ago, when God birthed everything into existence at the Big Bang, there was the Christ, the firstborn of all creation. Now, Scripture tells us, in the beginning was the Word. And God said, let there be light, 15 billion years ago. But 2,000 years ago, that Word, that light, took on human form in the person of Jesus of Nazareth. He became one with the One, capital O, one with all that is, one with the cosmos. And he came to tell us that we could do it too. And he came to show us the way. So, my friends, that's what we're doing during the season of Advent. We're making way for the way of the Christ, for the birth of the light to take place within us. We are awaiting the arrival of the Son of Man, which we heard about in today's scripture reading for the first Sunday of Advent. Jesus talks about this Son of Man, Son of God, only begotten Son, 3 times in this passage. And I know that that's confusing. It's confusing for Jesus to be standing there in front of his disciples saying, get ready, make way, prepare yourself for the coming of the Son of Man. if he's standing there in front of them? He already came. What is he talking about? Well, Jesus is not talking as Jesus of Nazareth. He's speaking to them from his Christ consciousness. And he's explaining to them, get ready. I'm going to be gone, but get ready, because the coming of the Christ is going to happen at an unexpected hour. And guess what? It did. You remember the Pentecost story? After Jesus died, his disciples were gathered together, and they had an awakening. Tongues of fire appeared above their head. They were filled with light, with this Christ. And then Scripture tells us that they went out and they were able to heal and perform miracles, just as Jesus did. Now, I know this is confusing because most of us who grew up in the Christian church, we were taught that Jesus was the only one, the only begotten Son. But the only begotten Son, my friends, is the Christ. Meister Eckhart was a 13th century Christian mystic. He said, God never begot just one Son. The eternal is forever begetting the only begotten. The eternal is forever begetting the only begotten. Now, Meister Eckhart was branded a heretic and was silenced by the church for saying that. But that's what Advent is about. We are to be giving birth to the light that is within us. Now, those of you who took part in our October book read, you know that we were reading in our book a lot about Thomas Merton. Thomas Merton was the Trappist monk, the 20th century Christian mystic. And he said this. He said, events and images in Scripture symbolize inner experiences. Events and images in Scripture symbolize inner experiences. Christmas is, therefore, an important occasion, not just in the life of Jesus, but in our personal lives. Through it, God awakens us to the divine life within ourselves. That's what we're doing during Advent. We're awakening to the divine life that is within us. It is a way for us to participate in the incarnation for ourselves. Just as God was born in Jesus, God is also born in us. That's what we're supposed to be doing these next 4 weeks. We are not just throwing a birthday party for Jesus. I know that's how we explain Advent to little children in Sunday school. We say we're putting up lights and decorations, we're throwing a birthday party for the baby. And that's lovely. But we're not children anymore. We're adults. And as we grow, we need to grow in our spiritual understanding of what Advent, what Christmas is really all about. Yes, of course, Jesus is worthy of our praise and adoration. Of course, we should be celebrating his birthday. But so many Christians today, the purpose of their faith, it seems, is worshiping and praising the one guy who did it, rather than following in his steps, which is what he wanted. Look at the Gospels. Jesus didn't stand there going, I am the Son of God. I am the light of the world. Do you know what he said? He said, you're sons and daughters of God. And he said, you are the light of the world. And then he said, all of the things that I have done, you can do. And then he added, these things and greater. Jesus was telling us we are the light. We are the sons and daughters. We can do these great things even greater than him. That's what we're supposed to be doing at Advent. Okay? waiting for these greater things to be made manifest in us, waiting for the light of the Christ to happen in us in an unexpected hour. And that's why we light candles. So the first candle we light is for hope, and I love that that's the first one, hope. We're living at a time where many people are hopeless, and maybe rightfully so. You look at the division in our country, you look at mass shootings, you look at climate change, it seems hopeless. But do you understand that our calling as Christians is to be the light during a time of darkness? Scripture says the people who are living in darkness have seen a great light. That a light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. We, my friends, are called to be the light workers, if you will, the lamp lighters, the way showers in this time of darkness. We are to be hope for the hopeless. And I know that I am so grateful in my own life. When I lived through times of darkness and hopelessness and despair, there were people who surrounded me who were people of light. And they reminded me of my own light. That's what we are supposed to be doing in this week where we focus on hope. And so, my friends, as we begin this Advent season together, this season of light, let us prepare ourselves. Let us make way for the way, the arrival. That's what Advent means, the arrival, the coming of this light. This light is on its way. It is with us and within us. This Advent season, let every heart prepare him room. Namaste. Hello, everybody. This is Sal Sapienza, and I'm so excited to share with all of you that I've written a brand new book. The book is called Childish Thinking: How the Church Keeps Us Stuck in Sunday School. Now, the title Childish Thinking comes from Christian scripture, where we hear that if we wish to grow in spiritual understanding, then we must let go of childish ways of thinking. And yet so many Christians today, even after years of Bible study and Sunday services, still have a very elementary understanding of their faith. They still understand God as some old man with a long gray beard. They think heaven is a place up in the clouds with pearly gates, that the devil is some red guy with horns and a pitchfork, and that hell is a fiery place below the earth. Those are things that we tell children. None of those descriptions appear anywhere in the Bible. And so in Childish Thinking, I try to dispel many of those misnomers, and I explore topics such as God, Jesus, heaven, hell, sin, prayer, and resurrection from the higher perspectives of ancient Christian mystics and contemporary progressive theologians. After each chapter, there are prayers for quiet contemplation and questions for personal reflection and journal writing. Come learn how you can let go of old ways of thinking and begin to see things with new eyes. Come and learn how you can finally graduate from Sunday school. The book is available now on Amazon, and you can read the entire introduction at childishthinking.faith.